Hello friends, welcome to another session of Emotional Cafe. Today I have the topic relationship values, and you might be wondering why I chose this topic, and I want to tell you specifically why. I have been talking about values for the previous sessions that you already have probably seen or not in Emotional Cafe. But we've talked about how personal values rule our behaviors and decisions on the personal level. And we've also talked about family values and how they deeply affect our social interactions. But what happens when it comes to love relationships? What happens when it comes to our couple relationship? What happens when we are interacting with our spouse, with our significant other, with our loved ones? What happens when we're talking about couples? And that's why I wanted to bring it on, because this is actually the scenario in which both our personal and family values combined together and reflect themselves. And the reason why I also wanted to bring and share this with you is because in my experience assisting couples that are on their emotional growth path and they are trying to improve their relationships and reconnect with one another, I have noticed some of these things that I wanted to share with you so they can help you as well as it's been helping them. For instance, it's just amazing how sometimes we find people that are so respectful and so considerate, but not with their spouse or significant other or loved one, however you want to call it, not with that person that they are in the relationship with. Sometimes they show their best. They show the best attitude, the best behavior. They show that they are people full of important values, but not with their significant other, not with their loved ones, not with their spouse. And at the same time, they are trying to teach values to their kids and teach them about love and respect and have family values that the kids continue to nurture while they are mistreating each other, while they are having such conflict in the relationship that it's impossible to live in peace. And that is the main reason why I wanted to bring this topic, because it is precisely in a relationship when we need to work the most to develop and nurture and define our values, and especially define what is it that we want to bring to the relationship, what is it that we want to blossom in the relationship. And at the same time, sometimes we have anti-values, which are the opposite to the values. It's all those negative attitudes and behaviors that sometimes we pick as little kids when we were growing up. Sometimes we've learned them, sometimes we've been taught these anti-values, and they are affecting us, they are reflecting in the relationship, and we are not aware of this. And I thought this was a great opportunity, talking about values, that we could make a stop and think about this for you in case that you are in a relationship, to help you make it better. For you, in case you are not in a relationship, to start considering these things and working on them previous to being in a relationship. So by the time that you have your relationship, you can actually enjoy the best of it. Each couple together, both of them, okay, need to define what values they want to practice. They need to define what values they want to share in the relationship. And at the same time, each couple have to decide the story that they want to write. They cannot reproduce their parents' story or maybe some other members of the family story, but they need to decide to write their own story and be aware what kind of story you are writing. So those were my reasons to choose relationship values for this specific occasion. And I have some important values that are amazing in a relationship. They make such a difference and help a relationship work. And I wanted to share them with you. These are respect. I start with respect as the number one value, because it is extremely important that we make sure we don't go that we don't cross that thin line that takes us to mistreating each other and lack of consideration and lack of respect. So respect is the number one, because it will help a relationship to work regardless the circumstances, as long as we don't get to the disrespect. Trusting one another, nurturing that trust. Supporting each other, understanding that we are a team. That's the mentality. We are a team. I'm not your enemy. You're not my enemy. We're together in this. Let's solve the conflict together. We're stronger together. So supporting each other is important as well. Faithfulness, understanding that we are here in this relationship because we want to. Okay? We try not to open doors. We try to keep people out of the relationship because whatever happens is between you and me, and we are responsible to protect our relationship. And that's what faithfulness is about, protecting the relationship. Optimism, positive attitude. It means that we appreciate one another, that we constantly try to focus on the positive traits and those positive attitudes and the positive behavior instead of always looking for the negative. It's that positive appreciation of one another. Tolerance, it is extremely important because nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, but being tolerant means that we understand this and we understand our differences and we manage our emotions when things are not the way we want them to be. When things are not the way we wish they could be, then we need to practice tolerance. Adaptability, because within the relationship, we as individuals, we go changing and the relationship goes changing. We cannot hold on to what it used to be 10 years ago because that's not realistic. We need to be able to adapt and understand that as a couple, the relationship is going to evolve and we need to be aware of this and be willing to adapt. Honesty, which means that we manage ourselves in an honest, transparent way. And the sense of commitment, which is being fully aware that we are in a relationship and the relationship is going to have highs and lows, but we are committed to making it work. We are committed to fight for it and make the best of it. Not fight among each other so we kill each other. No, that's not the point. It's that sense of commitment. This is serious. This is something that is important to us and we wanted to continue developing and nurturing it instead of killing it and affecting it in a negative way. Also, in my experience assisting couples, one of the things that I have seen is how negatively affected the couples are today, the relationships are today, due to the following reasons. And I wanted to share this with you as well to make you aware. Total lack of communication. It is as if we were talking two different languages. It's amazing how sometimes the couple are trying to share how they're feeling and they seem to be getting nowhere because they cannot understand each other. So the lack of communication is really affecting relationships in a very negative way. The lack of time. We're living always in a rush. We fill our schedules with activities. We don't even have time, personal time to ourselves, and not even consider the couple's time. So the lack of time is also affecting us because then we're under pressure and we're tense and we're in a bad mood all the time. Distractions all around us, the social media, the friends, the work, the TV. You go to restaurants and you see couples sitting in front of each other and they each have a cell phone, okay? It's just amazing how quality time has been reduced to all these distractions keeping us busy. The distortion of our thoughts. We have these preconceived ideas of how things need to be, and when things are not that way, then I get frustrated and then the conflicts start. And we need to start getting rid of these preconceived ideas and start understanding the way reality is and making adjustments to make our reality, our context of reality better, but not holding on to preconceived ideas that don't exist, that it's not realistic to our context. And finally, the lack of willingness to invest in the relationship. We have time for everything, but not for the relationship, not to nurture and nourish spaces to share with our loved one. And these are the main things that I can tell you that are affecting the relationships. Now, this is a great opportunity for you to define your relationship values. And I have a couple of questions for you to think about. What does your relationship reflect? Do you feel truly satisfied with it? Do you feel satisfied in that relationship you are in? What is important to you and your spouse, your significant other, your loved one? What is really important for the two of you? what ideas are important, what activities are important, what behaviors are important, what attitudes are important. How do you two treat each other? How do you treat each other in front of others? Now, let me tell you this, because maybe you're not in a relationship and you're looking at this session and you're thinking, this doesn't apply to me. Ask the same questions to you from the single perspective, because these are things that you need to define before you have a relationship. What would you like your relationship to reflect? Are you happy with yourself? Or are you believing the lie that someone else is going to come and make you happy? Because let me tell you, that's a lie. No one can make you happy. You need to make yourself happy. You need to be happy with who you are. You need to feel satisfied with who you are and love and accept yourself. And then you'll be capable of enjoying whatever other person comes to your life to share with you and give you. But if you are thinking that someone else is going to do it for you, I'm sorry, my friend. That is a terrible lie. Ask yourself what's important for you. Define this so you can then have it clear by the time that you enter a relationship. And how would you like to be treated in a relationship, and how would you like to treat your other person? Because remember, in a relationship, it's not about only what you get, but also about what you give. And sometimes we believe that these are things to be defined once we have the relationship. If you already have a relationship, you need to define them now. But if you don't have the relationship yet, this is a perfect opportunity for you to start defining these important aspects before you have the relationship. My simple recommendations for you in regards to your relationship values is that first you talk to your spouse, your significant other, your loved one. Talk to this person and define together what your personal values each one of you have and what you would like to nurture, what you would like to be or become your relationship values. Decide together what negative things are affecting your relationship, what negative attitudes, what negative behaviors, what negative ideas. Define them together, but not to blame each other, okay? But rather than that, to look at it and make a commitment to eliminate those from your relationship, to make sure you get rid of them and that you are fully aware not to let them rule your life and your relationship. And another important recommendation that I've been using, and it's been very helpful, is that at the end of the day, each one of you share with the other the positive things that happened that day, not the negative. Don't complain, don't talk negative. The positive things, things that make you happy or things that were good, things that make you feel grateful, those important things that were the highlight of your day. So that will make you go to bed in a positive mood instead of a negative balance at the end of the day. Finally, I want to tell you that it takes two people to make a relationship work, but at the same time, it takes two people to damage a relationship. And both of you are responsible to continue developing and nurturing your relationship. And you cannot do this unless you define what positive values you want to have in your relationship. You are both responsible to eliminate, get rid of whatever is affecting the relationship in a negative way. And you both need to continue growing in parallel, because if you don't grow at the same time, you're going to be growing apart, and it's going to be very hard to build a bridge to bring one closer to one another, to get any closer to one another. When you grow apart, the distance, the emotional distance that you build sometimes is inevitable, and sometimes there's no way that you can just trace back your steps. So let's start working on the relationship when we still have the chance to make it work. It's up to us, and it doesn't matter, as I always said, how you've been doing it, but now you are responsible to do it differently. So I invite you to take notes on this session and think about the things that I have shared with you here. And I really hope that you can make your relationship not only work, but has the best values that can maintain that relationship over time. I'm Xiomara Mayo Ingram, and I hope that you can join me in our next Emotional Cafe session. I'll see you then.